Okay, so adding and subtracting rational expressions are basically like adding and subtracting fractions. So it's the same idea, you want a common denominator. The only difference with these are that if you can cancel something first, do that. But you can only cancel vertically when you're adding or subtracting. Okay, so first thing you want to do, find the factors of anything. The reason we do that is because you want to make that common denominator, and sometimes you can't tell immediately. Multiply each term by the missing factor. Again, like you're adding or subtracting regular fractions. Distribute, combine like terms, and then actually add or subtract. So with our first expression, what you should see is that the right-hand side is missing both values and variables. Remember, you want to multiply on top and bottom when you're adding fractions. So if you think about it, this side is missing a 5. B, so if you notice this only has a b squared, we need an extra b in there. And then it has more a's, so we don't have to worry about that. Just make sure to multiply by on top as well. The left-hand side, you're missing a 3. You're missing an a, and that's it. So just make sure you multiply on top. We end up with 6ax over 15a squared b cubed. So notice how that's going to match the other side's denominator of 15a squared b cubed. Okay, and then your numerator ends up being 20by, so you can't really do a whole lot to combine those except rewrite it. So it'd be 6ax plus 20by all over 15a squared b cubed. And you might be thinking, can we cancel anything? You cannot, so that's it. Okay, the next one, same idea, but you can actually do a little bit less, because if they have nothing in common, you just multiply by the opposite one. Okay, so in this case, you can do that with the variables. So I'm missing an a, so I need an a. The deal with the numbers, though, is that in order to get 10, I have to multiply 5 by 2. So it's 2a on top and bottom. On the left-hand side, you're missing a b. You don't have to multiply any numbers, though, because, again, you'll get 10ab on the other side. So when you multiply the denominators, you get 10ab, 9b, minus 8a squared, all over 10ab. So again, you can combine like terms. Just be careful with subtraction. You have to distribute if there's an expression, like right here. If that has an addition or subtraction sign in it, you have to distribute through to both. But in this case, we just have 9b minus 8a squared all over 10ab. And that's your answer. Okay, a little bit more complicated when you have a giant factor on the bottom. So what I told you already is you want to factor first. So meaning I want to factor out your denominators. So I have x plus 3 and x plus 2. X plus 2 and x plus 2. Okay, so then what you can see is that I'm missing on this side an x plus 3. I don't know if you see that. So on the other side, you have an x plus 3 and an x plus 2. This says 2 x plus 2's, and now it has an x plus 3. So on the left, I need an extra x plus 2. So again, you're subtracting, so make sure you FOIL those. So you're distributing that x through on the top, so you get x squared plus 2x over, and you can leave it factored, but you can just write that denominator as x plus 2 squared times x plus 3. You don't have to expand it out. Just leave it like that. And then minus 2 times x plus 3 over, again, the same thing, x plus 2 squared times x plus 3. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the negative. You have to be careful of the subtraction sign because you have to distribute it through when you subtract. So you might even want to distribute the 2 first and get your 2x plus 6, and then subtract both of those. So x squared, there's nothing to combine, so it's just x squared. 2x minus, again, 2x, so that gives you nothing. And then you're subtracting 6, so you get minus 6. Be careful of that. That's confusing to some people because they forget you're subtracting that whole expression. And then it's still over x plus 2 squared over x plus 3. All right, I'm going to have you try number 4. and I'll show the answer in a second. The nice thing about 4 is that, again, you're not going to have a whole lot in common, so you can multiply by the opposites. So take a second, see if you can get that one, and I will go through 5 with you, and I'll show the answer for 4. The other thing is be careful that the right-hand side's denominator, 1 minus 2a, you have to rewrite as negative 2a plus 1 first. Because technically, if you factor out a negative from that, you get the negative of 2a minus 1. So first step on the left-hand side, you might want to multiply by a negative 1. And just don't forget to do it on top and bottom. Okay, so that will help you at least start that one, and then I'll show you the answer. Alright, so you should have ended up with 2a squared plus a minus 2 all over negative of 2a minus 1 squared, or you can FOIL that out and see what you get as well. Alright, the last one of addition and subtraction, again factor first, so you get x minus 2 and x plus 4. So that would give you negative 8, but add to positive 2. And then the other one is x plus 4, x minus 4. So again, you want to multiply this side, but what you're missing. So in this case, it's going to be you're missing an x minus 4. And the other side, you're missing an x minus 2. So FOIL that out and see what you get. I'm going to have you pause. And then unpause so that you can see the answer. Alright folks, so hopefully you got negative 8x plus 20 over x plus 4 times x minus 2 times x minus 4. You can leave it like that, you don't have to FOIL. Alright, so multiplication of rational expressions is actually easier than addition and subtraction because you don't need a common denominator. All you actually have to do is factor, cancel, and multiply. And by multiply, I mean multiply across, and then simplify if you can. So for our first example, you can do x minus 4 times x plus 3 times x plus 5 times x minus 5. And then the denominator, you can factor in x, so x minus 5, and then x plus 3. What's nice about division and multiplication of fractions is you can cancel either vertically or diagonally. Okay, so I'm going to start canceling. I have x minus 5 cancels, the x plus 3 cancels, and that is it. So you are left with x minus 4 times x plus 5 all over x. So in this case, you should probably FOIL out. So you have x squared plus x minus 20 all over x, and that's your answer. Alright, take a second and try number 2 and 3, and I'll pop up both of those answers in a minute. Just pause the video. Alright folks, check your answers. Number 2 should have been a plus 5 over a. You can see all the work I did for that. And then the bottom one, number 3, was 2a squared minus 11a minus 21 all over a squared minus 4a. Alright, last but not least is dividing. The only difference between that and multiplying is that you have to multiply by the reciprocal. So, for example, if I had 1/2 divided by 1/3, that's the same thing as 1/2 times 3 over 1, and then multiply across, so 3 over 2. Same thing with rational functions. So your steps are to flip the second term, so flip second fraction, and repeat multiplication steps. Okay, so I'm going to do the first 3 with you, and then I'm actually going to have you try 4 completely on your own, and I'm not going to even give you the answer until Tuesday in class. So number 1 we're going to do together again. If you flip the second term, you get x over 2y times 4 over xy. Okay, then you can start factoring if you need to. Things cancel, like the x's. The 4 cancels with the 2, so you have a 2 left on top. So it's 2 over y squared is your answer. Second one, again, you can wait to factor until you're done flipping. So flip the second term, again, like normal fractions. Now factor, so our x squared plus 25 factors to the x plus 5 times x minus 5. The x plus 5's cancel. The 18 and the 24 have a 6 that go into it, so 3 and 4. So you have 3 over 4 times x minus 5, which simplifies to 3 over 4x minus 20. Perfect. Alright, second one, again, same idea, flip it first. So we have x squared plus 3x minus 10 over 2x plus 6, and then multiply by your reciprocal, so x squared minus x minus 12 over x squared minus 4. Alright, I want you to try this one, factor it, cancel what you can, get your answer, check with me in a second. Alright folks, last one that I did with you is 3, and your answer should have been x squared plus x minus 20 all over 2x minus 4. Oh, plus 4. That is a plus. Let me just change that. So I want you to try number 4. I'm going to check your answer on Tuesday, because you don't have school on Monday. Hopefully you're not doing math on Monday. So Tuesday I'm going to check that for completion, not accuracy, but I want to see that you actually tried. Have a lovely long weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday.